Trenton Journal is for people who won't take no for an answer. Trenton Journal is for community leaders. Trenton Journal is for people who won't settle. Trenton Journal highlights some of the positive voices in the community and fills in the information gaps through original reporting.
Welcome to Capital Conversations. I'm your host, Kenneth Miles, founder and publisher of the Trenton Journal. Each episode, we bring you change makers and stakeholders who are making an impact in the city of Trenton. And today I have with me members of the Hub. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So for those who are not familiar with the Hub, could you explain your organization and its mission? And who you are?
Okay. Good morning. My name is Corinne Cunningham. I am one of the founders of Creative Change Counseling. We are a mental health behavioral agency, 501(c), based out of Delran, New Jersey. We do outpatient. We have over 10 different facilities. We have different group homes as well. Mm-hmm. We also got into the field of the restorative justice in Trenton through a grant that about 2 years ago we started working on, and we were blessed to be able to open the Hub at 16th West Front Street about a year ago. December 3rd was our anniversary. Miss Lakeisha Adams here is our wonderful director at the Hub, and she'll explain a little bit more about our restorative justice and what we do there and the impact that we have on the community, not only in the mental health space and not only in substance abuse space, but also in the restorative justice of trying to keep our kids in a safe space and a safe environment as well.
All right, but before we get into who you are, I think we need to let our viewers know what does restorative justice means.
Restorative, I've been trying to simplify my explanation of what restorative justice is, but restorative justice is a way to address harm without causing more harm. And it's simply a less punitive approach to dealing with conflict within the community, within families, within institutions. And we are just really excited to be a part of the Trenton community, where we have been working with young people, their families in the community for over a year now.
All right. So what kind of programs are you currently working on right now?
We do so many different activities and programs. So to Kareem's point, we have a grant through the YJC and through the county to be one of 4 hubs throughout the state of New Jersey as a less punitive approach to just working with youth who may be justice impacted. So we have 2 kind of sets of programs. We have one set of programs where we work with young people who have already been involved in the juvenile justice system, who may be leaving facilities, and youth who are in the community who may be at risk of going into the facilities. And so with the youth that we get referred to us, we provide wraparound services. So that's case management services, mental health, outpatient support, anything academic, school support, work readiness. We provide an array of activities and supports to young people. And then we have what I like to call a preventive component, because at the point in which we get a referral, we've kind of already entered the system. So we think it's important to approach this work from a preventative aspect, where we have a bunch of different programs and activities that kids can come to the Hub and just participate in a safe environment.
What are the age ranges of the youth that you work with?
So we work with young people from the age of 13 up to young adults to 25 years old. Yeah.
And for me, I hear a lot of people get confused with your restorative justice program, and there's another one in the city of Trenton that's ran by the Salvation of Social Justice.
So Salvation for Social Justice is a community-based organization, and they have what they call the Restorative Street Team, and they also provide another set of array of services and supports to the community as well. But I think what differentiates between the Salvation for Social Justice and our organizations, we are a pure restorative justice organization. We are specifically tasked to work with high-risk youth and young adults. And one of the things I can say, we are partners with Salvation for Social Justice. So we collaborate with their community, with their street team. We've even had them participate in our restorative justice training.
Well, how long has your program been operating in Trenton?
So the program is completely new. So it's only operated in Trenton. We had like a soft launch around September of last year, and then the big grand opening was December 3rd of 2024.
And what kind of changes have you seen by the implementation of your organization in the community?
Oh, so many changes. For one, we've trained about 150 community stakeholders and members in restorative practices. So whether it's schools, whether it's both street teams, the restorative street team and the Trenton community street team, we've Boys and Girls Club, several community Catholic charities, so many of the Trenton-based, the Trenton Police most recently, which was really a blessing considering last year around this time, the city was in an uproar about that Department of Justice report that came out about the Trenton Police, and that was as I was transitioning into this role, as we were rolling out the opening of the hub, and I just was really, it was important for me to think strategically, like how can we be an asset to the community? And at that point, when the community was very upset, I went to a lot of the rallies and I went to a lot of the meetings, kind of sat there quietly just to listen and learn. But I knew a training was definitely a gap that would be important, because as much as we could like or dislike the police, they are a part of the fabric of the community, and the best way to bridge some of those gaps is for training and for us to just sit and have a conversation to understand each other's perspective and respectfully disagree and co-create a set of solutions that the community that can best support the community. So last month in November, in partnership with the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office Detective Marlon Webb, we trained a bunch of the Trenton police in restorative practices. And I can honestly say I don't think it was performative. There was some real light bulbs that went off, and we had some tough, hard conversations, but they were very receptive, and I think it's a step in the right direction to promote some healing and understanding.
What does the training entail?
So the training entails, it's very immersive and interactive. So everyone
Your face just lights up as you talk about it. Wait, did you develop the program?
I don't know if I did. No, they restorative.
Well, not the concept of restorative justice, but I'm sorry.
She's a great trainer.
Okay.
I just love this work because I believe in healing. I believe in unity. I believe in this idea that we can tap into the resources our ancestors used. Like, there was no policing. You know, when you come into the hub, we have what we call it's a landmark, and it is a land acknowledgement, and it acknowledges the indigenous tribe that was associated with this area, which is the Lenni Lenape tribe. And when we think back to those days, there were no police. The community police itself. The elders sat in community when harms happened. The elders brought the people together, because we all have to be in community together. So I light up because I believe in the work. I light up because I've seen how impactful it's been. I've seen the changes some of our participants have had. We've had participants that started with us a year ago who were in severe crisis. I mean, DCP and like so multi-system involved, and to see where they are today, where they're participating in pro-social activities, where some of them are working. Like, I've seen it work, and so I'm excited because I know that if people are willing to embrace it, because it's voluntary, that I know the change that it could have.
They taking trips up to the Breakfast Club in New York, going on different trips to different cities and states that they have never been before. So just the impact that we see on the community and the kids, even the sectors that don't get along, they come in one space, and we call it a safe space. And it's a safe space where, though, hey, you have to get along, be able to communicate, and just understand that, hey, we may have differences, but we're able to talk it out and work together.
Now, how do you define impact? Wait, before you answer that, like, how do you, as the head of this program, this organization, say what it is that you're doing is actually working?
So it's interesting because we know this is a data-driven community, and with the funders, with a lot of the other hubs, we've been having this conversation. How do we measure impact? Because I think traditionally we are often looking at numbers, right? But I'm looking at quality of life as an impact. If I have a young person who was in complete turmoil, who could not manage their emotions, who could only potentially pull out a gun to resolve an issue, and a few months later, they're now in school. A few months later, that young person is now able to not crash out because that's their language. That's impact, because oftentimes dominant culture, the measures that they're looking at, like, we all have different qualities of life. And sometimes the dominant culture has taught us to kind of look at people's lives as numbers, but we look at them, every single person as an individual, and based off what they say that they need, based off of what they feel like they need to, be in this next space to evolve. So that's impact for us. So while we look at some of those concrete deliverables, like, are you going to school? So yes, that's important, but how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like you have the potential? I had a young person, we have what we do, peace circles and community circles, and we use that process to help them establish goals. And one young man couldn't even establish goals because, one, he didn't think he would be alive, and he had nothing to look forward to. We took him to a job fair, and maybe right after that, he was able to think more broadly about the potential of being able to get a job, and just some of those things that he just never thought he could even achieve because of just the environment that he was coming out of.
How does some of the issues in Trenton directly impact some of your clients?
I would say just basically just their day-to-day life. And by them coming back, that shows the impact that we have, because that means that they trust us. It means that they can come in and, hey, whether it's to get a meal, whether it's to work on a computer, whether it's just to get a person they could talk to say, hey, give them a hug, or you look nice today, or even someone just to keep them in a safe environment. I think a lot of our youth today, they are missing that love factor. They're missing that, hey, I care about you. They're missing that, you can do it too. You don't have to jump out to be a millionaire right away. You could just take one step at a time. And a lot of times people don't see past the four walls. And when you get them to go to different places, like when we went to the trip to New York, you won't believe how many people haven't been out of Trenton before. They haven't been to Philadelphia. So that impact there, just to see the smiles on their faces, but when they keep continuing to come back, that's when you can say, hey, you know what, I'm making a difference. You can't save everyone, but you have that kid that comes in and say, hey, you know what, I appreciate everything you have done for me. Hey, you know what, I am going to go to schools for the whole school year. I'm not going to get into any fights. I'm not going to resort to violence. And I think that's the impact that we see, that we have continued to see, and that we'll continue to strive for.
How'd you get involved in this line of work?
I got involved in this about 13 years ago, and it's just part of my life. I'm from Philadelphia. I grew up in North Philly, so I know the streets, and the streets can get you. But again, I had a mother. I grew up with a mother, not a father in my home, so I know how it is to grow up in that one-parent home, and sometimes you need those PAL centers, and you need those community people. Also was in sports. I played baseball, so that kind of my love for just being wanting to make a difference, and the people that poured into me, I wanted to pour back into people as well. So just being that beacon of light for someone to just say, hey, you know what, you can come from here to be able to get here, and you just continue to strive to be a good person and be a change agent in the community.
How do people get involved in the hub? Do you have to be recommended? Is it a referral process?
So we do have a referral process for those who may need those intensive wraparound supports. So we have what we call 7 referral sources. So it could be the courts, the police, the schools. We have an MOU with Trenton Public Schools. We've also trained some of the other schools that are not a part of the Trenton Public School District. The self-referrals. Kids often bring other kids, so that's how they
Really?
go about it. Absolutely. Yesterday, we had an event where we did gingerbread houses. One of our community building event was the first one that we had, where we brought the Trenton Police and our youth together. And they created gingerbread houses together. And we gave out, I want to say, about 4 or 5 applications, because many of the kids brought their friends with them. Packets so that we can get, so what we do is they'll bring a friend, we'll call their parent to see if they have permission to be with us that day, and we'll give them the paperwork, and then they'll bring the paperwork back the next time. So it's really easy to get involved. They come with their friends, different CMOs or caseworkers or DCP&P. They make referrals, and they bring their youth and young people that they're connected to over. The YJC facilities now, they refer young people while they're still in placement. And we have been probably in about 8 of the detention sites because I ensure that my staff go meet kids while they're still locked up, because it's very hard to make a referral and a connection with a person you don't know for when they're released. So any young person that we become aware of that's being discharged back to Trenton, we go inside the facilities and we start our intake process with them while they're inside.
And what does that look like?
That looks like the parole social workers within the YJC facility making a referral. We have a licensed therapist on site, and we have what we call restorative justice specialists, which are like the case managers. They would go drive wherever that facility is, go in and do an intake and meet with that young person to kind of talk about them, meet with them, not necessarily talking about why they're there, but talking about what are their goals and what they look forward to for when they come back into the community. And it also gives us an opportunity to connect with that young person's family or support network to see where we need to embed ourselves to ensure that that transition back home is one that could be successful.
What are your plans for the new year, 2026? What events and programming that you have coming up with the Hub?
At the Hub, we have quite a few things coming up. So the week of Martin Luther King week, we in alignment with many people around the country who do this work, we do something called Peace Week. So starting on Martin Luther King Day, that entire week, we do a bunch of different events that outwardly express the importance of peace and nonviolence and all of the things that Dr. King stood for. We are actually going to partner with a social service organization where parents can come and apply for SNAP in our building so that they don't have to go other places. We are going to let them know all the paperwork they need. We'll have people on site that they can apply for SNAP. We have a college tour that we're taking kids out on a college campus. Many of them have never been, haven't even started to have conversations. They recently participated with the African American New Jersey Chamber of Commerce youth event. So they were really excited about that. And now they're talking about entrepreneurship and all these other things. We partnered with Workwell to adapt their adult work readiness curriculum. So we did one pilot of that. So we're looking to do a second part of that where we have a 4-week program that our young people can learn work readiness and entrepreneurial skills. So we are excited about the new year and just more of what worked, refining some of the things that may not have worked, continuing to build our team, and find more money because we need support. We need the bag.
Listen, I'm glad you mentioned
we need the bag.
I'm glad you mentioned the bag because my next question was, how does cuts in federal programming impact your organization, not only your organizations, but organizations like yours? You mentioned SNAP benefits. People need food. You know, I think that's probably a lot of the issues a lot of people have is lack of resources and money, and and the issues multiply from there. How's your organization being impacted by the current cuts in federal funding?
Well, we have been just being in the mental health space, and that the cuts that have come through have impacted the agency, but we lead with our hearts. But our hearts also have to come back with finances as well. And we just continue to knock on doors, look for funding, look for different opportunities. But also while we're doing that, try to keep our core base and know that, hey, we're there for the people. We're there for the community. We want to continue to be here for the community. And anytime we get one door closes in our face, we try to go through another door. We continue to look for different grants, even though, again, grants are difficult to come by, but we continue to try to be able to be in the spaces, be in the rooms where as though people can see us, see our impact, see what we do for the community, come into our spaces. Our spaces we believe are some of the best mental health spaces that you can find in the world, to be honest, because again, when you come in, you don't feel like that you're in a space that's not loving or caring. It's clean, it looks nice. If you come into the Hub, you have the movie theater, you have the game room, you have arts and crafts, then you have the other side where you can have the computer room. It's just a holistic approach that we take to not only to the youth, but also to everyone and to everyone in the community. We want the Hub to be we call it the epic center of Trenton. People come here, community comes there to be able to feel safe and say, hey, you know what, creative change counseling is the place where as though I can also make a difference, but also not only make a difference with them, but also make a difference in my life as well.
So if someone has problems or issues with their neighbor in the neighborhood, whatever, so as opposed to calling the police, can they get in contact with your organization or an organization similar to yours in Trenton to piece things out, so to speak?
I think that speaks to your question. So one of the intentions, and I think I'm always about, how do we maintain our capacity so we are never over-promising and under-delivering. So I'm always trying to find partnerships, right? So we don't have to do everything. There's people in Trenton who do things well, right? So there's no need for us to reinvent the wheel. We kind of infuse ourselves in those spaces where we believe that people are doing the work well. Like there's the barbershop conversation. It had died down, and my team really took a leadership role in reestablishing those barbershop conversations.
What is that? Could you
So the barbershop conversations now has expanded to be just this really great space, like a heal the healers space, for lack of a better term. So in the razor shop, barbershop, in the community, a bunch of male-facing organizations and different organizations come together in the community to talk to men, because men are not coming to knock anybody's door down to get therapy. But they are in the barbershop and they are talking. So on the third Friday of every month, our team, in partnership with Empowerment House, in partnership with both of the street teams and other organizations, bring our participants, get them haircuts, and sit in a barbershop with the OGs.
Is it free haircuts?
Well, they're not free. Okay. Somebody's paying for them.
Right.
But we want to make sure our young men have that opportunity to see that what they're going through is not unique, that the older men have been through that. And as a mental health organization, we present ourselves as an opportunity that if men want to come in and get mental health services, that we have that support for them as well. So I think it's about those partnerships. It's about building relationships. And it's about, trying to not do everything, but find the thing that we can do well and do that really well, and support and work with our partners that do other work similar to ours, but they've already kind of built a network to do that, and we can see how we can support that. I think if we built like that ecosystem of us tapping into the things that we do well, we can kind of maintain our capacity during these times.
Do you have any programs that are specific to young women?
Interesting. Yes. So, yes. So we actually, in January, our therapist is actually kicking off a girls series. So we partner with Unity to do like healthy relationship work. So we've been on the ground in the trenches, working with the people who are doing the work, but we're actually launching all girls. I forgot the name of it.
We also did Girls Chat, Guys Chat.
Yeah, so we are kicking off, there's an event, Guys Chat, Girls Chat, where we just created space for kids, for young people to just come and talk and kind of separating the males from the females. And then, like I said, our therapist is rolling out this new program series just for girls, because we recognize some of the challenges that they're having, just with a lot of emotions and just managing some anger. So I have some pretty cool friends. So I tapped them when I can last year. Well, this year, at the beginning of the year, the girls really wanted to do vision boards. So I have a friend who's like world renowned for her vision boards. And so she couldn't make it here, but she did Zoom in and led the girls through some goal setting activities, which was really amazing. So I'm hoping that we get to do that again in the new year. And just, again, we have an idea of what we want, but we love to be community led. So we listen to our young people to see what they need, what they're asking us for, and we create that. And then we support our parents. We have some parents who their kids are no longer with us, but mom is stressed out. We have a quiet relaxation room with some really dope massage chairs. Okay. So mom just wants to come in and take a tap out, then hey, do that, sis, right? Because we know wellness is important. And one of the key things about creative change, if you go to any one of our facilities, wellness. So we have an administrative part where the work is going to get done, but joy is an act of resistance. Everybody deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves a quality of life. And it's important that we're not only focusing on the trauma and the things that are happening, but it's a space where people could just come and have a good time.
I could tell wellness is a part of your life, because you got this. You got this energy and this flow. You know what I mean? So you're definitely a great representative of the organization.
Thank you.
I have to ask, do you work specifically with high school students with dealing with bullying? Because I've heard several stories throughout the years of students getting into fights, because of social media, beefs.
So a part of our grant was to do like this cohort plan with the middle schools. because that's the hard area. That's where we can lose young people, that middle school time. We, once they found us and saw the work that we were doing, we have done work in Trenton, at Trenton High. We have trained and done work at Foundations Academy. We have trained and done work specific to bullying. We did about a 3 or 4 week intensive intervention at one of the intermediate schools because the bullying was so bad. And we partnered with the Community Affairs Division of the Police Department, with Mercer County's Prosecutor's Office, and my team went in for intense 3 weeks so that they could touch every student in that school to address the bullying issue. So we have our fingers on the pulse. And when those unfortunate traumatic instances happen where people have lost their lives, we've gone in and we've done some grief interventions through the circle process when you have a student in a class one day and then you find out that person has died the next. So we have been in the community trying to make sure that we have our fingers on the pulse. And even though contractually we may not have a responsibility, we take the ownership and the responsibility to make sure that young people, that the teachers, the educators, because they're human. And I think sometimes we spend so much time focusing on the youth that the adults have vicarious trauma and they have these other issues that's connected to what's happening, because as an educator, you have to show up for this classroom of students that you don't really have answers to because you're just as disturbed by what happened. So we are there to not only be a support to the young people, but to the educators as well. So we are constantly working on this bullying issue in partnership with the work that the Youth Inclusion Program does out of the prosecutor's office.
And how can people find you?
You can find us on our website, www.creativechangeinc.org, or you can give us a call at our main number. It's 609-667-7373. And again,
social medias, you got
We're on social media. The Hub, we have a website as well. Everything You Belong at the Hub, because that's our hashtag, because you belong here. Once you walk in the door, you feel like you belong. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and our website, You Belong at the Hub. And then, like Kareem said, Creative Change Counseling has a website, and then you can find a link to all of their other programs through the Creative Change website.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having us.